The concept of a battle system is aggressiveness. Say if somehow you're both able to block 100% of attacks, then the match itself wouldn't progress because nobody would do damage. Okay. But no one's gonna block 100%. The changes in Tekken 8 come from the team thinking about how they would go about making the game exciting to both play and watch. We felt that the person attacking should be really enjoying the gameplay. Trust me, they are. You don't have to improve a MASH experience. It's like, MASH is very effective in Tekken, considering how many attacks characters have, how many characters there are, how unga bunga a lot of characters are. Like, Lei doesn't need to feel better when he's mashing. He's already feeling really good about himself. We felt the person attacking should be really, really enjoying the gameplay and enjoying themselves and feel like they're at an advantage. And they should also feel they have a better chance to win if they go on the offensive rather than turtling up. This is interesting because I can tell you 100%, and I've talked about this for years and years and years. People play very aggressive in Tekken. People already feel extremely comfortable attacking in Tekken and feel a lot of discomfort when they block. You can tell this. People, the way people fight, like at least 90% of Tekken players that you find in beginner and intermediate, they do not want to block. Because then they immediately find themselves in the knowledge check situation where they have to know what you are doing. Where do I duck? Where do I step? And again, and it's also hard to punish with punish and block punish. Therefore, they want to knowledge check the opponent. So you'll notice in beginner and intermediate, once people start blocking, they start throwing panic moves immediately to easily get out of the defensive situation they are in, to try and steal the turn back, and then again take the match control back and start checking the opponent. How about this? And then the opponent does a panic move. Get off me! Knocks them down, and then check. That's the match flow. Break momentum. I want the match control. Taste my stuff. A, B, C, Z, E, F, G, you know, that's how people play Tekken, and no wonder with 50 characters who have 100 attacks, and you know, if you count strings, there are like thousands and thousands upon thousands of attacks in this game. So no wonder people want to check the opponent rather than get checked themselves. So already, like, the game is very, very friendly to attacking. Extremely friendly to attacking. And that's not even, you know, not even mentioning people who want, let's say you really want to win and you know about this aspect of a game full well. So you pick Zafina, for example, which is a statistically extremely rare character and very tricky to go up against. And then you boot up ranked, as Zafina players do. And then they go, ha-cha-ha! Ha-cha-ha! And opponent goes, what the hell is this? I saw Zafina last, I think it was 2 years ago. And then the Zafina player wins 5 matches in a row. Ha-cha-ha! Ha-cha-ha! And then the opponent goes, okay, maybe I can duck that. Maybe I can, and they slowly start doing better. They take a couple of rounds. And after 8 matches lost, ha-cha-ha! Ha-cha-ha! The gym player suddenly gets a match. The Zafina player goes, he's starting to see through. Decline rematch. So he's gotten 8 wins in terms of points. Tons of points. Loses 1 because fundamentally not very gifted. Knowledge checks not working anymore. A decline rematch. You've seen this a million times. And then he goes, back to warm-up space. No. Finds a new opponent. And that opponent goes, wait, who is this? Zafina, right, that's a character. Ha-ja! Ha-ja! And then it starts over again. He's starting to see what I'm doing. New opponent. That's how, if you want to get a high rank in Tekken, that's the #1 way of doing it. Play a rare character, find their bullshit strings, spam. No need for fundamentals, really. A little bit of fundamentals, but your opponent, you can so easily beat an opponent who's much better than you at the game if you just know about this stuff. Marduk is also a great example of this. If you have some fundamental skill and know how his cheese works, so this is already an interesting statement. Like, we want people attacking to feel better about themselves and feel like they have a better chance to win if they go on the offensive rather than turtling up. Well, that's been the reality for Tekken players for... I mean, seriously, the people he's talking about here that turtle up and feel better turtling up, he's talking about like top players or expert Tekken players who play certain characters. Because Tekken 7, with the limited movement compared to Tag 2, it's a much more aggressive game than it is defensive. So he's talking about a small chunk of players here. One other thing that Shredder introduces is the new heat system. Wow, giving me a boner already. Why do I read heat system and I think of Eva Mendes? I don't know why. Which is meant to enhance and articulate aggressive, and how that's actually going to be implemented into the gameplay. Okay, I have to read this again because I don't get it. One of my favorites is the new heat system, which is meant to enhance and articulate aggressive, and how that's going to be implemented into the gameplay. Okay, heat system means more aggression. Right, so when they go into heat mode, I'm guessing now that, I said this before, that this is the new rage mechanic. Rage is gone, and it's replaced. I don't think it's meter, actually. So I think what they've done is, once you reach a low amount of health, you go into heat. And now, your certain attacks are enhanced. So you're in a god mode. And I don't think there's a limit to it. Or maybe you spend the god mode within like 10 seconds or something. You go super aggressive. Or they mean you spam enough, right? You spam like crazy and you go into heat mode. But that would not be good. So I'm guessing you take damage, you go into heat, is my guess. And you go into a buffed mode where for a certain amount of time, you can do super stuff. And if you launch someone in heat mode, they could basically be dead because you'll do a combo featuring enhanced attacks, and it's probably going to be crazy. That's my guess. Or it could be a meter system, but who knows? While Harada couldn't share the finer details of what the heat system would mean for Tekken 8's gameplay, he did say that this is what the game would look like in motion and promised more details next year. Okay, so combos are the same. They seem to be the same. It was very unfortunate to see that the juggle state looked the same, the animated juggle state, which we thought they had changed now. We thought that was rebuilt as well. But so animations are going to be the same. This is really unfortunate. I thought they were redoing that as well. So what we saw in the first original trailer was mo-capped. That juggle state was mo-capped. Specifically for that trailer, I think. But so we're gonna see... If we again see like Tekken 1 animations on Nina and King, it's gonna be jarring in Unreal Engine 5, but you know, it's been jarring for 20 years, so. Much of Tekken 8's design has been influenced by the esports scene and even Tekken 7's reception. It's not just important that the game be fun for the person playing it. It has to look fun to play. Oh, it has to look fun to play, to captivate and bring in new people. Yeah, obviously. That's what Tekken 7 did way better than Tag 2. Cool to look at, very dynamic. That's good for esports. That was the design philosophy that we implemented in Tekken 7, and it turned into a strong conviction after seeing that was the case, and we should improve the experience for Tekken 8. Yes. This ties into aggressiveness as well. If you're looking at the esports scene where two people are at the same kind of level, there might not be a lot of offense going on because it's hard for both players to open up their opponent and not a whole lot happens. And you can see this in boxing and other martial arts as well. When two people are on the same skill level and there's not a lot of attacking going on, we wanted to make sure the game is entertaining to watch by motivating players to go on offense and to try to open up their opponents, not just because it makes the game more enjoyable for them, but a much more entertaining experience for spectators too. I think there needs to be a balance here, and obviously Harada knows this as well. I think Tekken 7 did that well. I mean, Tag 2 was still a super aggressive game, and it was much more defensive than Tekken 7. Much more defensive. Do you know why? Because characters move twice as fast, and on electric or any fast launcher in that game, like you couldn't whiff anything. Doria! Up in the air, tag assault, 1 million damage. So that game was already way more defensive than Tekken 7. But if you watch tournaments in that game, it was still very aggressive. And Tekken 7 is much more aggressive. Like, movement it's still decent, but it's much more subdued compared to Tag 2. Like, if you would play Tag 2 today, you'd be like, oh my god, I feel like I'm in mud when I play Tekken 7 in comparison. But also, they gave attacks bigger hitboxes as well. It's much harder to step in Tekken 7. And there are so many more like super attacks in Tekken 7 that are homing mid-counter hit launchers, you know, that just blow you up. So Tekken 7 is already very aggressive. So they're gonna make it even more aggressive. I don't know about that. I really hope it doesn't turn into a mash fest, because it already kind of is, but oh well, we'll see. But doesn't think this design change will just benefit high-level players or those who enjoy watching high-level Tekken. This goes throughout. I mean, just look how great that looks. I really hope the final product is closer to this. I mean, compare this to Law versus Paul on Colosseum on the new trailer. Come on, man. This goes throughout the game. The stage destruction, the reactions of characters when they're being hit, the camera and the way it moves when all this action unfolds. Harada says it's not just about esports and people are interested in that scene, it's about making the game interesting to watch and to experience as a whole. Whether that's against a human opponent or just playing against the CPU. CPU, I think it's. CPU. Obviously, Tekken 8 still has ways to go and develop more. While this trailer answers some of our questions, raised others, we may have to wait for answers. The first people that came to mind were perhaps certain executives at our company. Harada says they change quite frequently, and some of them are only interested in obtaining the highest profits possible to further their careers. And they have no regard for development schedules or brand timelines. Oh, wow! He's shitting on the higher-ups at Bandai Namco. So some of them quickly flashed into my head, but if I had to think and I had to pick a Tekken character, it's tough because most of them would probably survive if you look at past instances. Who you would throw into a volcano? Damn. If I had to pick one from a positive meaning, it would be Jin Kazuma, because his father and grandfather have each had their turn. He should be thrown down a cliff, yeah. But he hasn't. Not to kill him or anything, but to force him to go to the next level, to be a better version of himself. I think just throwing him into a volcano might help that. So throwing someone into a volcano will humble them. Well, he could be right about that. But I hope... Oh, does it mean Heihachi is going to come back now? Because obviously these guys survive everything. Who knows? Yeah, it certainly hasn't worked, though. I mean, that guy took a tumble down a fucking Kano, right? He's not humbled. Heihachi certainly wasn't humbled. What do you do to these guys, man? You go to their refrigerator and you steal their needles and steroid stacks. No, how dare you, no! That's how you humble these motherfuckers. But yeah, I guess that's it in terms of information. Yeah. I don't know, it's a mixed bag. I gotta say I'm mostly positive. I think we need to see more. I'm mostly positive. But it worried me a little bit seeing some of the worse stages and lighting effects, lighting in general, shading on character models. But as he said, that's going to improve. The original trailer still is... I mean, that's what I want. I mean, and he said in the original IGN interview that that was a real-time rendering. So this is what I want, right? This is what everyone wants. No, there's nothing new about the release date. No. By the way, now that we know Street Fighter 6 is in June, guesses to Tekken 8 release date. Well, half a year later, December. So for Christmas. I think we're aiming for Christmas, but could be spring of 2024. So in 1 year, I think. You're hearing August 8th. That's impossible. That's just not happening. Tekken 8 beta, same time as Street Fighter 6. I wonder if they would do that. Maybe they would. Yeah, Christmas 23 is what I think they're realistically aiming for, but could be spring of 2024. No later than that, I think. They did say they were going to release it in that fiscal year, right? The 2023 fiscal year. And in Japan, I think that ends in like March of... yeah, in March. So March 2024. Oh, God. Mental note, everyone. Maximilian dude just wrote in my chat. Jesus Christ. Huge congrats. Again, like, huge congrats and well done on your success, dude. I told you before, but it's extremely inspiring to see. Curious if mobility will open up all this aggression. Tekken 7 is pretty fucking aggressive. Yeah, I talked about that a little bit. Like, Tag 2 is more defensive than Tekken 7. Like, Tekken 7 is already a game that promotes aggressive play a lot. So... yeah, I don't know. I get a little bit worried when the Tekken director says they have to feel better attacking. I'm like, they already feel pretty good. So I hope they're not going to turn it into an insanely aggressive game where you're even more rewarded. Like someone wrote in the chat, like, oh, this new heat mechanic where you get enhanced attacks. Your character is enhanced. That unlocks by you attacking a lot. I really hope they don't introduce something like that. Or if you guard a lot, let's say you block a lot, your heat meter depletes. I mean, Street Fighter's had similar systems, right? That would be like, oh, I don't know if that's going to work with Tekken. Because certain characters, like my boy Kazuya, he blocks a lot, gets an opportunity, knocks down, and then into Oki. So, I don't know. It's like certain characters are very aggressive and certain characters not so much. So, yeah, I don't know. How much and when heat can be activated is critical. Need to see a real match play out. Yeah, exactly. Like what he says in this interview and what we saw in the trailer, it's very difficult to make out. And also, even if it's like a heat bar that depletes by using cancels. I mean, Jin in the trailer did a demon paw, forward 4-2 into a dash cancel. So I was like, oh, is this must be a meter attack. But then I noticed that he was glowing already before. He had attacked Kazuya and he was still glowing, and then did a demon paw with a Devil Jin wing effect into a cancel. So I'm like, oh, it's this. He's in a prolonged state of like enhancement. That's what it looks like. So heat is like a super mode, I think. Demon Paw FADC. Yeah, that's what it looked like. In mix seems like some hilarious shit. Yeah, an attack that's already like stupid good is now gonna be unblocked like heavy plus frames advantage. So it's like, I don't know. But my guess as to what's the most realistic is, I think, heat is the new rage mechanic. So it's the new comeback mechanic. So you take a beating. When you're low on health, you go into heat. And when you're in heat, either it stays until you're KO'd, you die, or for a certain amount of time, just like with Rage in Tekken 6 and Tag 2, you are enhanced. And in Tekken 6 and Tag 2, you're enhanced with 140% dealt damage, right? For like 10 seconds. So my guess is you get heat for like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, or until you're KO'd. And during this time, certain attacks are just enhanced. Like Jin's Demon Paw, probably is electric, probably other attacks. This means that we're going to have crazy offensive ability. But also, if they launch you, I'm guessing the combo abilities are going to be like absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. When you're in heat. Yeah, I know. I also think of Eva Mendes all the time. And I get stiff nipples. But I don't know why they call it the heat mechanic. Please call it something else. It's like, come on, man. Yeah, we haven't seen sidesteps. It's almost like they make a point of not showing that. Because there are not a single step was done in the first trailer. Not a single step in the second trailer. Yeah, I don't know, man. Wonder if sidesteps will cost meter. That would be incredible. I can't stop! I haven't built up a bar! Ah! Mikaze has S tier now. But I mean, at least, you know, towards the middle of a trailer, it didn't fade to black, and you hear Mesats. And then Hadouken. That would have been funny. I would have laughed. He's back, and this time it's personal. Hey, RGS, good morning. Marduk in heat. Oh my god, if Marduk is in the game, what is he going to do in heat mode? The tackle just fucking blows up the opponent. Now we get launched like a just frame skyrocket on block. I think all ideas are exhausted and pretty much anything new still won't feel original, in which case people will hate it and thus it will lead to Tekken's demise. I think it's too early to tell. Like, we don't know. We need more information either through a beta where people get to test it, or they do a playable build location test somewhere. But as Lord Max said, we need to see a full match. We just need to see, what does the UI look like? Is there a meter? Is this a new rage mechanic? Yeah, we just don't know right now. But the game looks very much like Tekken 7 in terms of the basic gameplay, the animations.
Hi from Saudi Arabia.
We haven't seen the move. Hello to Saudi Arabia. Hello, Ali. They can't get rid of sidestep. What will happen to Steve? What will happen to a lot of characters if they remove sidestep? They're not going to remove that. Yeah, Blaffy, that's sad. There are no new animations. And in terms of the gameplay we see, it looks a lot like Tekken 7. And I'm not talking about the graphics. I'm just talking about the animations we saw, the flow of matches. Lars launching Jack into that combo. Looks a lot like Tekken 7. So I hope when we eventually play the game, but it does feel quite different when you move, when you attack. Because I don't want this game to drop and feel like, oh, this is basically Tekken 7.2. What I'm looking at is very new. The stages and characters, but it just feels like Tekken 7 too much. I hope they understand that they really have to do significant changes. Was camera more zoomed in unlike initial trailer? Yeah, it was. This looks like Tekken 5 DR. The way the camera is quite far away and there's a lot of space around the characters. That's Tekken 5 DR camera. But what we saw now was Tekken 7 camera. Way more up close. But again, that could be a trailer zoom in. You just don't know. Could be a trailer just zoom in specific for the trailer. This should have been the second trailer. But honestly, I just don't know what they're thinking. It's like they dropped this trailer, which is basically the Avatar of fighting games. Like Avatar, I'm probably gonna watch Way of Water, but it's like, I'm not looking too much forward to it, but, you know, Avatar in 2009 was like, it was quite the experience. When you saw, it was like the first movie that really made use of 3D well. I know that's a fad that has died now, right? But it was really cool at the time. And in terms of the visuals, it was like no other thing, right? 2009, it's very old. This, to me, is like, first time I saw this trailer, I was just like, I just could not believe how good it looked. It had sort of a similar effect. But the problem is, that's your first trailer. And then in the second trailer, you have Law versus Paul in a Coliseum, and it looks a third as good as this? A third as good, if we're gonna be generous? If this looks like proper fucking Unreal Engine 5, next game, PlayStation 5, oh my god, I just bought my Nvidia 4080. I mean, that's what this looks like. But then certain sequences in that trailer where I'm like, King versus Jack, Paul versus Law, I'm just like, okay, it does look slightly better than Tekken 7, but it's not night and day. Looks like a slightly enhanced Tekken 7, whereas this looks like something completely fucking different. Upscale Tekken 7 is a good way of putting it, Ducky.